G'day, Ben from Melbourne here, and today I'm going to do a thread. As usual, I'm late to the party. This one's the 3 bands, 3 albums, 3 decades thread by Christian from front to back. I'll leave his details below so you can check out his channel. Can't remember what his old channel was called, but he's up and running again, which is good to see. Now, this one's pretty easy. So obviously you got to pick 3 bands, 3 of their albums from 3 different decades. Me being the overachiever that I am, have gone a little bit too far and pulled out too many fucking records as usual, which I'll have to refile, but I think it's good. And of course, it's all Australian. So let's get started. First one, we're going to start in the decade of the 1970s, and that's with the Saints. And who we're going to follow through the decades is this dapper young chap, Mr. Ed Cooper. Greatest punk record of all time. I don't need to tell you that. You already know, because if you watch this station, you know your shit. So, then you're asking me, what was Ed doing in the 1980s? Well, he was forming the Laughing Clowns and probably invented jazz punk with the great title Mr. Udich Schmudich Goes to Town. And also in the 1980s, he was pumping out great solo records as well. Electrical Storm, this is a banger. Come the 90s, Ed's formed the Aints, not the Saints, but the Aints, and released the great Ascension. Another couple albums, one live one, another studio one. Reformed the Aints again in more recent times. More solo awesomeness in the 90s with A King in the Kindness Room. So there you go, 70s, 80s, 90s. First artist. Second artist, Sexy Tex Perkins. Now, he was a particularly busy chap, starting off in the 1980s with the cover, which I think is one of the more sexy covers out there, with his band Salamander Jim in the 1980s. With this one's called Lawn Green, shares his precious fluids on the Great Red Eye label, of course. Some more out there stuff from Sexy Tex with Thug. Now, if you're familiar with Tex's stuff from like his solo stuff or Cruel Sea or Base Suburban, these 2 albums I just showed are going to be rearrange your brain a little bit, but friggin' awesome shit. And if that's not enough in the 80s, of course, the supergroup B Suburban. There's Sexy Tex there, itching his brain with the legendary Sour Mash album. Awesome stuff. So moving into the 90s, Tex formed yet another band. There's like a bazillion other bands from the 80s too, which were unrecorded, I think. Hard to keep up. Pump Action with The Butcher Shop. This is great. This band's had like people like Kid Congo Powers, Spencer P. Jones, I think Stu Spasm from Lubricated Goat. Quite the cover there. So I think that's bang on 1990. And then a couple of years later, The Cruel Sea with the award-winning The Honeymoon Is Over. This is probably the most successful record that Big Texy has put together. Really cool, kind of an Australian versions of New Orleans funky stomp. Also in the 1990s, Tex Perkins, Don Walker, and Charlie Owen. Great dark acoustic based, and obviously a bit of a piano on there as well. That's where Don Walker comes in. Beautiful records. These guys seem to make one record every 10 years, so I probably could have done them. But anyway, it's all about Sexy Tex. And to finish off the 90s, B Suburban got back together again and released Gone! could he possibly do more? Yes, in the first decade of the O's, Little Animals, another B Suburban shed burner. Another band, the Dark Horses, ended up being called Tex Perkins and the Dark Horses. More of that smoky, bluesy, country influenced awesomeness. No, not country like you're thinking, embryonic robot. You're so bloody biased. And just to round out Texy, that was like the O's. The Beasts come back in the 10s and release this. I was going to tell you the year, but I shouldn't overpromise and underdeliver. But anyway, who would have thunk it that they'd be back again and still playing? They played a show just recently to celebrate 30 years of, what was it, 40 years of Black Milk? I think it's 30. Texy, that was 4 decades. Artist number 2, another favourite around these here parts, Mikey Young, the legend, whose name is probably on at least 14 albums you own as the mastering engineer, or maybe he produced it. But of course, best known as guitarist for Eddie Current Suppression Ring. This is their second record. This is the O's, friggin' punk rock shot in the arm that era needed after all those man bun, cardigan wearing, in touch with their feelings fuckers got through their emotional shit. Also in that same decade, the O's, he formed the mighty Ooga Boogers with Romance and Adventure. More awesome post-punk, punky, bit of synthy stuff in here, as well as Mikey's awesome guitar work. And also, are we into the 2010s? No, we're not. I think we're in the O's. Yes, we are. And Total Control. This is a banger. Kind of like, if you like your kraut rock stylings, you'd really dig Total Control released a stack of records. Right, Ooga Boogers in the 10s released their second and last record. What's this one called? I think it's just called Ooga Boogers. Again, overpromise, underdeliver. And then he went all electro with Lace Curtain, 2013. There we go. There's a year for you. Very synthy, awesome stuff. And then, when we least expect it, goddamn Eddie Current Suppression Ring in the 10s released a cracking record on Castleface, reformed, called All in Good Time. And the great man even made it into the 2020s. Well, he has to for the purposes of this because it's 3 decades. And formed yet another project called Green Child. I think he's got about 3 or 4 Green Child records now. More electronic stuff, female vocals on this one. Really good shit if you check it out. And then one more in the 2020s is the mighty Power Supply, which is pretty much a reformed Ooga Boogers playing slightly slower songs. And just to be a show-off to end off, in the year 2025, we have a new 7-inch by Eddie Current Suppression Ring. Oh yeah! On Cool Death Records, Shapes and Forms, awesome stuff. Comes with great artwork. A little bit of posterage of the boys in action, and some wordage as well. Oh, and some nice stickers. Anyway, that's my contribution to Christian's 3 bands, 3 albums, 3 decades for the great Front to Back channel. Good to see the great man back. The second best haircut in the VC as well. Thanks for watching my very late thread. Jump on board. It's never too late. And we'll see you in the next one.